want to do real quick is I want to throw up the splash screen for what Bethesda just dropped on their socials. Here, folks, you can take a look at it. Tomorrow, here it is. This is badassery at its finest. It is, of course, the advertisement for the Elder Scrolls 4. This is what the character is going to look like. It looks like, when I saw this, I was like, you know what? I'm using this for my thumbnail tomorrow. I hope I can find it without the tomorrow 4/22/2025. I'm sure someone's going to do it because, the internet sleuths are amazing. But here it is, folks. This dropped literally moments ago before the show went live, and it is confirmed. We officially have the confirmation from the gaming gods known as Bethesda themselves, ladies and gentlemen, that Elder Scrolls 4, that many people in this community have been called liars. Well, it's come to fruition. It is officially happening tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is great for Double Barrel Gaming because we're going live at 12. So if you want to hear our thoughts on the first trailer, which we will watch live together, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow's show is going to have Infinite Umbra, my brother from another, and of course, Jamie Moran all the way from the other side of the pond, as it normally does on the Xbox Factor podcast. This is going to be one of the big topics. I know the guys are going to want to talk about Doom, the Dark Ages and what happened with the trailer. We'll probably touch on it because obviously I have a lot to say today on that, but I want to hear what they have, what they're thinking about it. But Fuzzy Belvedere, okay, so we have the confirmation. Elder Scrolls 4, the remake, not the remaster. I'm sorry, folks. I have a hard time saying it's a remaster. Is kind of like, let's just slap a smear on there and call it a day. This is a full remake. And here is where the rubber hits the road, ladies and gentlemen. Of course. So I pulled a story from a very credible journalist, Mike Straw of the Insider Gaming Network. He posted this yesterday. This is big news, and this is why it is a remake and not simply a remaster. And it goes on to say this, ladies and gentlemen: Obsidian's remaster file size found within Steam. And this is where it gets really interesting. The article goes on to say this: the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remaster is currently the worst kept secret in gaming. Indeed, the game is expected to be revealed any day now. And of course, the data miners have discovered the file size for the Oblivion Remaster. Now, this is where it gets pretty interesting. Now, I didn't know this. When Oblivion originally released on the Xbox 360 back in 2006, it came in at a whopping 4.6 gigabytes. I mean, that's an update for most games these days. And for comparisons, of course, let's talk about what they're saying. Now, this remake, because we keep seeing the side-by-sides. We keep seeing the one-to-ones, Fuzzy Belvedere. Well, according to, of course, the data miners, who are the internet sleuths on why we love doing this and why we love coming out here and talking about the stuff on these podcasts, have found out that it is going to be a monstrous 120.6 gigs for this thing. Think about that for a second. So the original comes in at 4.6 gigs, and the update is, okay, so I actually misquoted it. It's actually almost 121 gigs. It's 120.94 gigs, and that is what the internet sleuths have found. Folks, this is massive. And I got to tell you, everyone that we have spoken to, Fuzzy Belvedere, and everyone that I've listened to a lot of shows in the last couple of days. PM and the PM was amazing, as it always is. Of course, Mav show on Friday night, fantastic. The Iron Lords was a complete slobber knocker, if you will, as it always is. There was a lot of excitement, and I have seen Fuzzy. You're going to get this. It's the internet, so nothing surprises me, to be quite honest with you. But you do see There being that there are some naysayers in online that are literally talking about why are we championing a remaster, which is kind of bugged out to me. So let me just get this out of the screen and let me just bring the footage back up. It's going. All right, so there you go. And there's a difference, ladies and gentlemen. And I kind of wanted to get in front of this before we talk about the exciting remake that is Oblivion. And look, you've heard me say this before. It is not only my personal favorite RPG of all time. It is goated in many circles. It is probably one of Bethesda's best works. And the fact that a game from 2006 is getting remastered and remade. I keep saying remaster. It's a remake, ladies and gentlemen. This thing, from what we've seen from the ground floor, has been redone. Again, the original 4.6 gigs fuzzy, the new version, the updated version, with modern controls, which is expected, and modern graphics and sound and everything that goes with what comes with modern game design, is nearly 121 gigs. That is crazy. Let's get your thoughts, man. This is great news. Again, it is probably one of the worst kept secrets in gaming. We knew about this since the court documents were leaked or accidentally put out there during the trial for the ABK active, acquisition. This is great. Again, I'm glad Bethesda officially announced it. We do have to wait 24 hours because obviously, or 23 hours now, to the actual reveal. Let's talk about it, man. This is great. This is very exciting. This is a great way to open up today's show. I am pumped AF. What are your thoughts, man? Let's talk about it.
Well, first thing, this has been a ridiculously awesome month as far as just game drops from Xbox in general. But to have this classic come back, and for those that are like, well, why are we championing the remakes? I think we know there are some places that do remakes that are only a couple of years old, so it's better to see one that's an actual beloved title from more than just 4 or 5 years ago, get its remaster or remake, basically in a new engine and everything. But I think for all of the fans, especially like Infinite Umbra as well, where they're a fan of the Unreal Engine 5 and the visuals that you see from it, to see something like that pretty much be made in that engine, and more than likely have it appear like it's a whole new game. I think it's a worthwhile venture for them. And the fact that there might be some out there that haven't played the original Oblivion, which I'll admit, I might be a fake gamer because I didn't play the original, because at the time when the original one came out, I was more so on PC for simulators, like whether it's like dogfight simulators like F-15 Eagle and things like that, and my NASCAR racing and stuff. So I will be diving into this, although it does kind of suck for Expedition 33, because I think I'll probably hit that one up first, and just have at least both of them downloaded on my console and stuff. But yeah, this is awesome to see, something that's been, a rumor or a whisper in the background for, I would say, a little over a year and a half or so at this point, finally come to fruition. And the fact that this was, even though it's kind of a surprise, maybe not necessarily for all of us that are enthusiasts that, check out the podcast and, search social media for like some of the leaks and things like that. But there's going to be quite a few people that, may have played it when it was on the 360 and they're like, well, that doesn't even look like the same game, and just be, amazed at seeing the new visuals in that new engine. But yeah, I think this is going to be a loaded week, because we also saw some other things that are coming to Game Pass this week as well, outside of Expedition 33, which I'm really pumped for that game as well. But man, Xbox is killing it this year, and we haven't even gotten to the showcase yet. But this, I think there's going to be a lot of people playing this remake or remastered game, as they want to refer to it as, and enjoying it like it's a new title, and I can't wait.
Well, I mean, there's some people in the chat asking specifically about what the price of this thing is, and the answer is I don't know. I know that I'm Xbox Game Pass subscriber, so it's in my service. So that is confirmed. Now, there was some rumors and some conversation surrounding a $90 edition of this game. I don't know if this is going to be physical or digital only. Obviously, all of these questions are going to be answered tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I would imagine. I mean, there were some screeners. Actually, as a matter of fact, one of the other stories that was going to be a part of why this was real and why a announcement was coming, because there was obviously the running narrative for this whole conversation was that it was going to be quote unquote shadow dropped, right? Like we kept hearing that, and we heard that from Detective Seeds, we heard that from Ecstasies, we heard from quite a few other people that believed it was going to be again quote unquote shadow dropped, and a lot of people gotten their feelings over it. Like this is too big of an announcement to be shadow dropped. Maybe originally I had thought that this week is also going to levy potentially the announcement of the Xbox partnered event that was originally supposed to happen in March, was delayed. We heard it was delayed. We don't know specifically why it was delayed. And then obviously when all of the rumors and the leaks started coming out about when Oblivion could be announced, well, I just assumed that there was going to be like a dual thing, right? Like obviously you'd get the partner event, because again, Bethesda did not make this game. This was outsourced to another company. Virtuous is the one that redid this, and they're considered a partner, so it makes sense. I, as of 12/17, have not heard anything from Xbox regarding their partner event, if it's still happening, if that announcement is coming possibly tomorrow. Maybe they wanted to leave Oblivion's announcement alone, kind of not like add too much context to everything going on with Xbox. Because quite frankly, this is a big week. You said it. Obscure Expedition 33 is on Thursday. That's a big one. Xbox Game Pass has been just dropping bomb after bomb after bomb. The showcase is 6 weeks away. Oblivion is coming out, potentially tomorrow. It's going to have the announcement, and I'm sure it's going to be like, hey, available today. Boom, you go download it, and we're good. So we could still get an announcement for the, for the showcase for the partner event, and maybe that's next week rather than this week. Originally thought to be on the 23rd. I don't know, but let's see. Psychonauts in the chat said he'll update me tomorrow on if there's a SKU. Well, awesome, because if there is, I'm probably going to buy it. And I hopefully. I would love. Did anyone in the hey everybody in the class raise your hand? Do you still have, or did you buy the original collector's edition? Because if you did, it came with a cloth map, if you remember, and one of the gold coins. Mm-hmm. And I actually still have it in perfect condition. It's actually in storage. And I would love. Like, I'm a big nerd for this stuff. Like, I mean, again, I have all this stuff I have to unbox for Doom the Dark Ages. I got the helmet. I got, the controller. I actually got both controllers. I got the wrap for the console. I got the, the statue edition. Well, that hasn't been delivered yet, but I have a lot of work to do. I really hope, Fuzzy Belvedere, that not only do they make a physical version of this, which I think is worth it, that they make a collector's edition version of it, because that if they could recreate what they did in 2006, that would be freaking amazing. While I do that, Fuzzy, I want to get your thoughts on this, because look, the one thing that a lot of inbox collectors, a lot of physical collectors feel unheard, right? That no one's listening, that they want their games to be physical. Yeah. And I understand that. I have a ridiculous amount of physical games for the Switch. And I don't know so much if I'm going to do that for the Switch 2, but for the Switch 1, I have a lot of games. Sony's games, oddly enough, it really depends on which game it is, but I do buy a lot of their collector's edition because I do like their first-party stuff. So I get physical there. Mm-hmm. Xbox, really not so much, but this is one of those things that I would absolutely adore if they just took the time, because this is a big deal, right? Like it's a game that released in the Xbox 360 era, right? it has been lauded as one of the best RPGs of all time. Now, maybe not so much for you. For me, it's tip of spear. It is top dog. And one of the coolest things about the original collector's edition is that it did come with a cloth map, and it came with one of the coins, the gold coins. Obviously, it wasn't a real gold coin, but it sure enough looked like it. I would love if they took the time to remake this game. Wouldn't it be freaking dope AF, ladies and gentlemen, for them to recreate the original collector's edition? And again, I don't give a honestly, I don't care if it's $200. I mean, I'm not rolling in money, but I would take the time to buy that. And I think a lot of our physical collectors out there, and there's quite a few in here, quite a few of them in here, that would jump on that. What do you think about having, again, they took the time to remake the game. Why not remake the collector's edition? What are your thoughts, man?
I think considering that they would somebody should still have the specs on like the cloth map to be able to do a reprint and things like that. I think it would be an easier thing. And even if it's in a lower number, like I would say at worst case scenario, partner up with Limited Run. And there's like another team that also does like something similar to Limited Run, where it's like for like collector's editions and physical copies and things like that. They'll, instead of printing millions like they normally would for a regular production run, they produce like a couple hundred or a couple thousand of them, and then have it where, you might pay a little bit more of a premium, like you said, something closer to like 200 possibly, where it's just the items. It may not include the actual disc, but at least have like a steel book with the, the code for the game, or just have it where it's a steel book, the map, and the coin kind of deal, just so that way, people that want to have it displayed on a shelf or displayed on like a coffee table or something along those lines in like their man cave or their game room or something. I think it's a worthwhile venture. Or at worst, allow people to, take the blueprint for that map to be able to produce it themselves. Like I'm pretty sure somebody, worst case scenario, could do it on Etsy, although the licensing aspect, although Etsy doesn't seem to bother with licensing unless it's like in mass production kind of thing. But it would be a worthwhile venture, considering, it appears that they've put a lot of care and effort into redoing this game and this new engine. It would be worthwhile to at least produce the map and the coin, maybe a steel book. I'm pretty sure those things material wise could, wouldn't cost them more than like between 10 or 20 bucks. The drawback could be, tariffs potentially, but it all comes down to it. Those are things that they could produce here stateside that, they wouldn't have to necessarily worry about. But it would be a cool thing for them to do. I would like to see more titles that are coming out, especially ones that are like a remaster, collector's edition kind of thing, where they do stuff like that. Even if it doesn't have the game code, which for those that may, buy it digitally, at least have the steel book to put on your shelf, at least have the, statue or map or coin or any other, accessory that they would have had in a traditional collector's edition, be able to produce them. So hopefully they do something like that. It may not be something at launch, let's say. Like usually things like that, they'll at least show, months in advance. But even if they do partner later at a later date, or let's say Limited Run, steps up and they can get the rights to do the reprint of the map and maybe stamp a coin, or hey, Bethesda, reach out to is it Obi that does Obi and the blue number that normally do like the
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah, well, yeah, Ben Kenobi. Yeah, Ben Kenobi does it as long works with blue number, and I'm Sean Labrie also is a part of that team that they do things together. Yeah, dude, that would be kind of. I wouldn't be. Listen, you know what? Ben is ahead of the curve on a lot of these things, so I would not be surprised if there was something in the works. I just really hope that, like you said, I really kind of liked what you said. If they've taken the time and care to redo this, what would it be to make, even if it's limited run? Like you make a great point. Limited run is exactly that. They have a limited amount of them. You buy them. They have a pre-order date. You hit this date, and after that, that's it. They don't make them, and that's kind of where I think it could make sense. The old, if it's not making dollars, it ain't making sense, and vice versa. Well, that's where it could make dollars, and it also could make sense because the way limited run works is they take they're made to order. So if they get 5,000 orders and the cutoff date is, this, then they make those 5,000 orders and that's all that they make. That is where I think would be and they recently, and I'm talking about Xbox, remember they were left out in the cold of a lot of the limited run stuff, and they just made a deal with them. I think it was like last year that you're going to see more Xbox stuff in the limited run collections. Before it was just PS4, PS5, and Switch. Now you're starting to see Xbox stuff. This would be that's a fan freaking tastic idea, Fuzzy.
Yeah, there's enough of a player base and fans that would be willing to spend that extra for those physical editions or for collector's editions and things. And, limited run seems to be that perfect balance where you're not asking the actual publisher to produce millions of copies that might sit on the shelf. Although a lot of stores now are taking away their physical, shelf space for these types of media and stuff like that. So yeah, limited run would probably be the best option. Or reaching out to, some of the people in the community that have done, great, like, I guess you could say like coins and other things within the community. Even, people like the Pope with like the controllers and stuff. Like, I think there's a market for it, especially considering, if they can get the licensing and it's not like something kind of like Disney where it's like, 50,000 before we even approve it. And then, hey, we get like 10% of each one produced. If they were a little bit lighter on the licensing side, I think there would be a lot more community growth around those titles and a lot of these, upcoming or remakes or remasters and things that these studios release. So let's hope they give it a try.